hopefully induce a wound to the chicken. These wounds are never straight. I think most of them are. Okay, we're coming in.
Okay, that's our wound. That's our laceration. You guys are gonna want to see this.
Made this cut, so this is kind of like a just a more jagged cut that you would get, so the skin's kind of like flopping over. For this, you're gonna just kind of want to get everything put back together, and that's gonna like force everything to just be smushed together and then hopefully heal. It only takes a couple days for the tissue to kind of reconnect on itself. If you get hurt in the woods, if you get cut like on a stick or on some like rusty metal, something like that, you don't really want to have everything tight up against each other, because even if you wash it out really good, there still could be bacteria in there, kind of in an austere environment. So an infection is definitely at high risk at that point. So you kind of loosely close it. So these are what our sutures like in the hospital look like. They have a curved needle. I was kind of thinking about it. It'd be cool to obviously have sutures on you at all time, but if you're in the woods, you kind of got to use what you got. The one thing that I think is really important is having like a needle kit. This is just a sewing kit from Walmart. They're straight needles, so there is that part. The idea of a curved needle is you can kind of like make a circle, and when you tie it together, it gives like that tension in a circular pattern and brings the edges together. But a straight needle, you can definitely get enough tension to bring the skin edges together and allow for appropriate healing. So these are nylon sutures. There's many different types. There's basically divided into absorbable and non-absorbable. The absorbable are going to be some sort of like gut material, just some sort of like cellulose material that kind of absorbs into the body over time. And then your non-absorbable or non-dissolvable ones are going to be like nylon, or we got some trilene suture here. This is more like a plastic thread, basically just monofilament. That's a really small one. This is the 4-pound test. I would say find the smallest one that you could find. Before you even start this, use lots of water. Use lots of water to rinse out the wound, dilute all of the bacteria that's going to be in there. What you want to do is try to make it go back as close as you can. It's not going to be perfect to what it looked like before. So here, what I would start with, like, if you had a straight line, you would just go right in the middle and kind of work your way out. I'm dividing it as you go. But for this one, I would start right where the corner is. Pass through one side. And then you want to try and make it the same distance on the other side, because that's going to distribute the tension. You're just going to pull that through and try not to cut yourself. First throw over here. You're going to tie your square knot. When you're suturing, you want to do 2 throws in your first direction. So if you're going over, and the reason they do the 2 is because when you kind of get it down, so you don't have a ton of tension, like you don't want to have it so tight that you're basically cutting off the blood supply. And then you kind of reverse it, and then that's going to lock it. You should have, maybe it's just bunching up a little bit at the edges, but it should not be, like you shouldn't see a line going through it, like all the way through the tissue wrapping around. It should just kind of be nice and close to each other, bunched up. So now I threw the first one over, so I'm going to go under this time. And then that way. So that one completely locks it. And then this one is almost like, you consider like a half hitch knot. So, oh yeah, I'm going to switch my hands because I'm trying to go the other way. So I'm going to go over this time, just like the first one. That is actually the one, there's no more tension. If you add more knots, I think it's good, because you can like, what if you threw one the wrong way? So a 4th one is definitely okay to do, just in case you threw one the wrong way. So here you can see that it's kind of loose on it. You could slide it around, and you can kind of see it's just bunching it up together. So that is how you get a wound together. And then, so we kind of tie them very close together. I was just talking about inches are probably the best way to describe these. So we would do like 1/4 of an inch apart. With these wounds, I would say you're just trying to get the skin up next to each other so you don't have this big gaping hole. So you'd probably go closer to like almost 1/2 inch, just under that, would be the best way to go. So like even all the way over here, and then you could just throw one there. So if you're using like a clear line, I would cut a huge.
Okay.
That way you can know where that suture is, and then later on you could take it out. That's just to find it, because you're gonna find once that scab forms, if you have a little tail, that whole tail can get kind of like absorbed into the scab, and then you'll never find it. So you're gonna naturally have redness around it because that's the healing process. Your body's kind of attacking all the bacteria that's going in there. But if you notice that redness, like it should be around the edges. If it starts tracking away from the wound, or it becomes very thick just outside of the edges of the wound, and it's warm, do you see yellowish coming, anything yellow coming out of it? If it's yellow clear, that's okay. If it's like yellow thick, like not good, you gotta, antibiotics is the best thing. Do you guys want to try it?
Sure.
Go for it.
No.
It looked like you did a little bit into the muscle, but
Yeah, you could just go just into the muscle, and that'll kind of pull it together. And then you throw one more knot on top of it to make 3 total knots. Would be a good.
Can you get my string?
Okay.
Go, Emma. Dr. Emma.
Good.